says yes. He says yes.
Yeah, okay, but you were laughing to yourself in the car. I've asked you why you thought it was funny. You stopped me as well. So.
You see, the thing is, you laugh in your van. I come and talk to you. You can't respond to what I'm saying. To you getting angry. It's pathetic.
Yeah. Fucking move.
It's pathetic.
Fucking.
Alex.
I said fucking
Yeah.
move.
I said to you.
What are you doing?
You're toxic.
So, quite disturbed to hear about what happened to you today. Would you like to set the scene and just tell us a little bit about what happened?
Setting the scene, so we were laying some roses down at the entrance to kind of pay our respects to the animals that were going to be taken to be slaughtered. And I saw this car pulling out. I know I kind of knew who it was because about 5 minutes before, a couple of activists had come up to me and they'd said that, oh, there was this couple that were laughing at them and mocking them, which they were very upset about, understandably. So this car pulled out and it stopped just where we were laying the roses. And I was filming and I looked through and I could see through the window of their car that they were laughing again. And I thought, right, okay, so I knew they'd already upset a couple of the activists. So I kind of waited maybe 10, 15 seconds or so, and they were still looking at us laughing. So I thought, I'm going to have a wander over and just kind of chat to them because I don't know what's so funny. So as I walked over, the driver, the man, wound down the window. And so I'm looking over the passenger seat past the lady and talking to the man. And I said to him, what's so funny? And he said, what you doing? I said, well, we're laying down some flowers to pay respect to the animals that are going to be slaughtered.
Yeah.
He said, is it all right to swear? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, quote the man. You feel free.
Yeah. Okay. So, and he said, oh, you look like pricks. And I said, why? And he said, you just look like a joke. I said, well, can you explain what's funny? Because I don't understand. Can you tell me what the punchline to the joke is? And he was like, I was like, it's just comical. And I was like, but why is it comical? Like, if you're laughing at something, you have to have a reason why it's funny. Tell me why it's funny. And he was getting more and more irate because he couldn't answer the question. So I kept asking him, why was it funny? And he went, oh, you all look ill. And I went, okay. He went, you need to eat some bacon, go have a bacon sandwich. I went, okay, right, that's good. And I said, why would I do that and give myself cancer? And he started laughing again. I said, that's it again, you're laughing. What's so funny? Tell me what the joke is. This went on for too long, this kind of back and forth. And then he started getting pissed off at me because he couldn't respond, and he was going "fuck off." And I said,
"You're quite well known for remaining calm in these difficult situations."
I certainly try to. I mean, I had no reason to be irate at him. Like, there's no reason for me to get angry at him. I went over there because I just didn't understand what was funny. Like, what's funny about a few people, or like a group of people, trying to pay respects to living beings that are going to have their throats cut? I mean, what is the punchline to that? There obviously isn't one. So, and I was just curious because, like, I think we kind of all understand that people mock what they don't understand. And I didn't go over there with the intention of causing any sort of aggression. I just wanted to have a chat with him. I wanted to kind of discuss it, and hopefully he would tell me why it was funny or why he thought it was funny. And then on the back of that, we could have an open debate about slaughtering animals. That was kind of the purpose of it, but he wasn't up for that kind of discussion, and instead he just got really angry. And I think because he couldn't answer my question and because I was being calm, it made him angrier, to the point where he was going, fuck off, get out of my way. And I was saying, why are you being angry? There's no need to be angry at me. And he was getting progressively more and more irate, to the point where he's going, fuck off, you cunt, I'm going to come out and I'm going to drag you off myself. And I was like, you don't need to get angry at me, why are you getting irate? And I said, and then I got a little bit iffy, and I said to him, you're acting pathetic. And that's when he was like, get out of my fucking face. And I went, no, you're being pathetic. And that was it. He like, poof, turned the engine off, got out of the car, put a cigarette in his mouth, comes running around the back of the car. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Okay. So I turn around, I'm like bracing myself. I think he's probably going to hit me, because as soon as I said it, he just saw red. I could just see it in his eyes. Something snapped in him. Jumps out of the car, comes running around to where I am, shoves me. And then I think, right, that's it. He's going to hit me. Thankfully, a couple of the other activists, some of the surge team, jumped in front and tackled him. Well, I say tackled him. They took a few shoves themselves. One of them, their arm was really sore. They couldn't lift their arm. Another one got a bit of a bust lip because he was proper shoving. Believe it or not, the police are around, and they were. I mean, look, they were slow. I think they were slow. They could see what's happening. Anyway, so after this pushing and shoving happens, then the police jump in. Then they grab him, and I'm thinking, right, that's it. That'll be it. He's assaulted 3 people. They're going to put him in handcuffs. That'll be it. He'll get whisked away. Well, that didn't exactly happen. And what kind of frustrated me is if it had been reversed. Say if I'd gone up to a farmer and I'd shoved him, I'd called him a cunt, I'd told him to fuck off, I'd done all of these things, and I finally pushed him. Well, they wouldn't give me a second. Like, I'd be in handcuffs, I'd be in the police car on the way to the station. But for whatever reason, they took him to one side and said that he would probably get a caution, maybe, or he might not even get caution, even though they'd witnessed the assault on 3 people. But that's kind of the situation we're in, where this guy had lost at me for just simply wanting to know what was so funny. I just wanted to know, like, what is hilarious about this situation. He couldn't answer it. He couldn't answer it, and he got angry, came out, tried to assault me, tried to hit me. Thankfully, a couple of the other activists bravely stepped in the line of fire and took more of the brunt force than I did, and paid the price for that themselves. So thank you to those 2 people. And then eventually the police came out of wherever it was they'd been hiding. But yeah.
Where was the police in all of this? So this was in a rural area or in a suburban area?
Yeah, it's a little village. It's basically, the place is called Tem, and it is known for the livestock market. That's kind of the only thing that's going on there, is the livestock market. So it's very small, very rural, heavy farming community. A lot of people are very unsympathetic to us being there, which, you know, is understandable. That this is part of their community. So I'm not resentful for them not understanding why we're there. But what kind
on the point of farmers, though, obviously there's been a lot of talk in the media. Joey Carbstrong's been on national morning news talking about the slaughter process. And how do you feel about the way the media is responding to all of this? Because, you know, we're all very, you know, uniquely aware that the mainstream media will use any opportunity to try to tear down the vegan movement in a way that really creates fear. And of course, they're using the word militant in a lot of the press and a lot of the headlines. And how do you feel about this? Because, you know, do you think it's a premeditated, planned approach, or is it really just kind of hyperbolic hysteria that they're trying to whip up?
Well, I think it's hysteria. I mean, the thing is, as a movement, we had such an amazing January. The press was super positive. The stuff about veganuary was all very positive. We had really good representation in the media for the most part, and all the people like Matthew from Veganuary and everyone else who went on the live debates, for the most part, did a very good job of representing veganism positively. And I think this was obviously irritating the mainstream media and obviously irritating the farming community. And what's happened is they've had to start perpetuating the same old rhetoric that used to be used against the ALF, right, against animal rights activists, which is that we're militant, domestic terrorists, extremists, striking fear into the hearts of all these innocent, humble farmers that are just earning a living, doing what, you know, the consumer demands of them. And the problem is it couldn't be further from the truth. And I think what we're finding as a community is that there is an opposition now that we didn't have a year ago. And that's positive, because the fact that we're moving on to this stage, which is an aggressive stage and kind of a much more confrontational stage, is just an element in the process of us pushing towards a vegan world. And we were always going to get this fight back. Now, I think what we have to be really cautious of is that as vegans, especially as activists, we don't fulfill their kind of connotations of what vegan activists do, right? Which means that we shouldn't basically
perpetuate the myth.
Right, there we go, exactly, perpetuate the myth. And this is what frustrated me about today, because when we went there today, we had flyers and we had leaflets about how these farmers could switch to arable if it was suitable for their land, how they would be able to get the help they needed. So this was information about farmers who had done it in the UK, and also which organisations would support them and help them. So we were actually handing these out to farmers, trying to have discussions with them. And I'd had a very productive discussion just earlier during the vigil with a farmer who said he could do arable. And we had a big long chat about dairy farming, and he agreed with so many of the points that I was making, and he said he would read through the flyers and through the information. And what we wanted to do today was show these farmers that it's not an us versus them mentality. What the mainstream media tries to do is it's try to draw battle lines, whereas you have to pick a side. You're either on the vegan side or the farmer side, and there's a war going on. And simply that is not true. But the problem is, because that's been perpetuated to such an extent, what we're finding is that, well, what we might well find is that people start to fulfill these roles because they think that's what's expected of them. So what we have to be so careful to do is make sure that we are effective and positive advocates for the animals, and we don't regress to what they want us to do, which is being violent. And the issue is, because the farmer's done this, it's just shown that actually in a situation where there's been a vegan and a farmer having a confrontation, it's the farmer that's reacted aggressively. He's the one that's been militant. He's the one that's been extremist. He's the one that's been aggressive. not the vegan. Now, obviously, this is a very small kind of confrontation in the scheme of things, and it wouldn't be wise or indeed fair to paint all farmers as having the same mentality as the one farmer that assaulted us today. But the problem is, the problem is we are, as vegan activists, we're being painted with the same brush, you know, and they're saying that we're all like this, even though none of us are really.
Absolutely. Generalizations of any minority or group of people, I think, are highly illogical and problematic. And I think what it does is it further perpetuates the stereotype. Yes, there may be some vegans within our movement, you know, within the 500,000 people that are in this country that may act in ways that are aggressive, confrontational. But it certainly doesn't, you know, it's really unhelpful for the media and the press to sort of paint an entire group of people, or a very diverse group of people, as aggressive, when it's just simply not true. And it's an impossible statement to quantify anyway. There's no way that you could prove that entire group of 500,000 people are all categorically aggressive and militant. So it just doesn't make sense. So when dealing with kind of characters of this sort, I mean, have you encountered kind of aggressive people in the past, and how have you dealt with it?
I mean, I've encountered aggressive people. It's a difficult one. Now, obviously, what triggered him is that I called him pathetic, and I think this speaks volumes. And this isn't just about necessarily farmers, but indeed, I think as a man, what he felt really triggered by was me calling him pathetic, and I think he felt emasculated in that moment, and his only way to react was angrily. And he probably has a lot of repressed emotion, right? And that's maybe due to the fact that he's desensitized because he works in an industry that's inherently violent. That's speculation, of course. But I think when we're dealing with violent people, maybe don't call them pathetic. I don't know. That's
Sure.
the end.
Yeah, of course.
But
words can
I think it's just, it can. But I think the point is that when you're calm with these people, sometimes it brings out those reactions because they can't be calm back. And I think, I mean, don't ever put yourself in a situation where that's going to happen. I mean, look, I mean, it was fine because there were so many other people there, and I didn't feel unsafe myself. As I say, I don't really want to paint myself as a victim, because I'm not. The animals that have been taken to the slaughterhouse are the victims. But in this situation, I felt safe because I knew that there were people there to back me up. It's a conundrum, really, and I don't hate. This is what I really want to express. Like, I know why he did that. Like, I get it. It makes sense to me, because we've gone to a place where they're working, right? And this is where, for years, they've gone about their business, and they've done something they've never ever been told that what they're doing is wrong, and not face to face, right? And then we show up on a day that they're doing what they believe to be lawful business, but is lawful technically. They believe to be doing moral business, and where they're telling them what they're doing is wrong, and this is their livelihoods. So I completely understand why he would be angry at me. It doesn't justify him reacting that way, but at the same time, I can't hold him entirely morally culpable for what he does, because, you know, he feels threatened, and I think any of us in that situation, we would feel threatened too. Not to excuse what he does, but I think we have to, even in a situation like that, I think it's important that we do have an air of empathy and sympathy, because you know what we want, or what I say to these people is, there's a world in the future that is a vegan world that exists for the animals, it exists for vegans, but it also exists for farmers. So look, we come from opposite ends of the spectrum, but what we do have is a lot of passion and a lot of kind of emotion vested in animal agriculture. Him for the opposite reason to us. Oh, sorry, that's my buzzer. That's my buzzer. I've got a package. But I think we have to have sympathy, is I guess what I'm inherently saying. Sorry for the all the background.
Absolutely, and I think this is the thing that we have to all remember as vegans when we learn this information. And for many of us, even many of us activists and campaigners who've been working in this movement the last few years, we've all only been vegan for a few years. And I think what's very important, and we all must remember this, is that, you know, at some point in our lives, and I think you alluded to it in your speech at the Animal Rights March, is that in our past lives we consumed animals, and we paid for animal slaughter, and we, you know, in a way we kind of owe the animals a debt of gratitude to say, you know what, you gave your lives for us, and it's time that we sort of stand up. But then we have to remember that we used to be those people that you know, were unaware and kind of in a way a bit clueless to what the reality was of what we were involved in. And we have to be compassionate and sympathetic to people who don't see things the way we do, and we have to come at them with an open heart and kind of understanding, so that they really kind of listen, you know, because I think it's very easy to create a sense of frustration and anger and resentment in other people if we come at it from a place of anger ourselves.
Yeah, this is exactly right. These industries are consumer led, right? Which means that the buck lies with the consumer. Now, these farmers have been their farms are normally passed down generation to generation. And the thing is, we can't be held morally culpable for the fact that we were born into a world where eating animal products was acceptable. Likewise, they can't be held entirely morally culpable for being born into a family or a community where farming animals is considered acceptable. And we do have to understand that. And and you're right, I do talk about this in the March speech, but it's something I try and hit home a lot, and that is the responsibility lies on the consumer's shoulders mainly. And we were once the consumer, which means we do have to appreciate that, and we do have to understand that even though we've seen kind of the alternative and we know now that animal agriculture is wrong and immoral and can't be justified, there are many people who don't know that, including the farmers, and we have to approach them in a way that we deem to be effective, not necessarily in a way that's self-serving, if you like.
Absolutely, and we need visibility, and I think this is where the Save movement does come up. You know, a lot of people do speak about the Save movement in positive ways, and then there's also negativity that comes from industry because they don't understand it. They see it as a waste of time. They see a bunch of humans mulling around a slaughter truck, and they don't understand the emotional connection between the people and the animal. You know, in many ways, I personally feel like it's a bit of a spiritual connection that you have there, where you're kind of making that pilgrimage in a way to a place where animals are being slaughtered. And I think, you know, the more people get involved with the Save movement, the more people that go vegan, that want to become activists, it really kind of lends itself to a movement that becomes visible and becomes far reaching. So
yeah, and this is the thing, what the Save movement does so well is it creates debate, because it takes I use the word fight, but I don't mean fight in an aggressive way, but it takes the battle straight to where the action is happening. And I think that's why it gets so much attention in the media and also from the industry themselves, is because we're directly confronting the industry themselves. And when we do outreach on the streets and stuff, we're fairly detached. We're attacking it at the core, which is the consumer, but we're detached from the industry itself. But when we do the saves and we're there in the moment where the action is happening, they get frustrated because they can see us, where we become tangible, and the threat to the farmers becomes real because we're there in the flesh. We're not just on social media, and it shows that we are kind of amassing a really strong grassroots community. And I think that's what's happening in the UK right now, is the activism scene is growing so quickly and so exponentially, not just in terms of number, but in terms of quality. And the quality of the activism that's happening is really increasing. And that's why I think we're currently being painted as extremists and militant, because they see that what we're doing is effective, and they're trying to downplay our accomplishments by making us out to be some sort of domestic terrorist movement, if you like.
Right.
And
if people are afraid of the vegan movement, so people see being vegan as something that is threatening and something to be feared, the chances of people wanting to join the movement is much more reduced. And I think that's what the mainstream media is trying to do, especially. Industry will try as well. The dairy industry with their February Dairy campaign, there's been a lot of attempts to try to smear or try and downplay what we're achieving and how fast we're growing. So just to everyone who's joining, just to give you an update, so we're talking to Earthling Ed. Ed is an activist, a British activist based here in the United Kingdom. Ed has a variety of campaigns running, as well as a popular YouTube channel, Facebook page, and a campaign group here in the UK called Surge Activism. Ed, how can people find out about what you're doing and support you?
Yeah, I mean, social media, 100%. So, as you said, Robbie, I've got a Facebook page, Earthling Ed, a YouTube page, Earthling Ed, Instagram, Earthling Ed. But most importantly, as you said, I co-direct an activist group here called Surge, and we put a lot of events on. We've got a big anti-fur protest happening this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday against London Fashion Week. And we also have the official Animal Rights March, which happens annually every year, and that's on the 25th of August. And it's a global event, so even if you don't live in the UK, check your country, because we've got them in America and Australia, across Europe. It's going to be huge. But yeah.
Amazing. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, everyone else who's been watching, and maybe if you've just joined us, this video will be available so you can go back and listen in. Ed, thank you for joining us. We'll put some links. The video of what happened and an article about what happened with an interview with Ed will be available on plantbasednews.org, and they'll be available shortly. So do check it out. And thanks everyone for joining us. And thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Robbie.